All right, good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order the March 18th, 2026 meeting of the Parks and Recreation Commission. First order is roll call.
Commissioner Searing,
Here.
Commissioner Moorhead,
Here.
Commissioner Tyson.
Here.
Commissioner Gary. Here. Commissioner Lundmark.
Here.
All right, if you're able, appreciate you joining us and stand and join the Pledge of Allegiance. Item 4, approve the agenda. Any changes to that? Otherwise, a motion to approve would be in order.
The only thing I saw, and it was under the farmer's market, it said, have they reached out to the Rotary Lions? And it was just Rotary, the Lions could be,
I don't know if they reached out to both, is what I read that to be.
Rotary or Lions? I thought it was just Rotary, but
What do you think, Kyle?
if you said both, leave it in, but
So the farmer's market update is the agenda item.
yes. Well, no, that was in the minutes. It was asked whether you reached out to the Rotary Lions, but those are two different organizations.
Well, for the minutes, we'll get there, but for the agenda, I think is what we're looking for.
Yeah, it's the agenda, the agenda.
agenda, sorry.
That's okay.
Okay.
Move approval of the agenda.
Okay, Karen moves approval of the agenda. Second. Nikki seconds. All in favor of the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposed? Open forum. Do we have anybody who wants to speak to the commission? Okay.
Riley, then Keith.
And Kyle, for the roll call, I want you to add that Sue's here now. Okay. All right, Riley Richardson. Appreciate you coming. Just once again, say your name and address for the record.
I'm Riley Richardson. I live at 4406 Douglas Drive in Crystal, Minnesota. I'm with MWP Recreation, and I just wanted to stop in and introduce myself as we plan on participating in the RFP for Bayview Park. So MWP Recreation represents game time playgrounds. So we have Minnesota, Wisconsin, and North Dakota, and we build community healthy spaces and incorporate inclusive and accessible design in our projects. So I just wanted to stop by and introduce myself. I'm just excited to participate, and we'll have some designs for you guys next month.
Thank you.
Thanks, Riley.
Awesome, thank you.
Appreciate you coming up here.
That's right. Put a face to the name.
Keith, and I apologize, I probably won't get your name pronounced right, Koholi?
Forget the H.
Okay.
Keith Coonley, with 7841 North Shore Trail North. I'm with Let's Go Fishing, Forest Lake. And hopefully, we provide free fishing outings for veterans, seniors, disabled individuals, and youth. And we'll be starting up in Forest Lake here in June. So things are progressing nicely for us. We're in good financial shape. We partially because we decided to buy a used pontoon boat. It's a wheelchair accessible pontoon boat. So that's helping keeping our requirements low. But we have great generosity in this town, and thanks to your generosity, we're in good financial shape, and we'll be fine for the first year for sure at this point. So that focus is behind us now, and we're moving on to getting our guests and getting our volunteers signed up. We have about 20 volunteers. Our goal is to have 40 to 50 volunteers to man our boat this summer. And we have only four organizations joined up so far, but we're just focused on getting them signed up. And the intent is to have about 400 or 500 people, our guests, out on our boat this summer. So it's a little bit of a stretch, but I think we can get there. So far, we just put our calendar out this last week, and we already have 20 trips reserved already, which will be roughly 100 to 150 guests that will be out there. And that includes about 80 guests from the YMCA. So things are moving along nicely there. So thank you for your support. I hope we can get you out there, and hope you could experience being out on our boat with us this summer.
You mentioned the calendar. Where do you put your calendar looking for volunteers?
To sign up as a volunteer, you just go out to our website, which is www.forestlake at our acronym, Let's Go Fishing, LGFWS.com. And right on the front page, it'll tell you where to go to volunteer
Great.
to register as a volunteer.
Good luck.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks, Keith, for your efforts on this.
Thank you.
It's going to be a nice program for everybody. Thank you.
Yeah, we think so. Thank you.
Okay, item 6, approve meeting minutes. And Melissa, you had a tweak, okay?
Jumped ahead, but yes.
I see that now, and yeah, it looks
Okay.
like it just says about the Rotary Lions helping, and that was just a Rotary that we had discussed that Karen had asked, so I can remove that Lions.
Great.
Any other revisions to the minutes? Otherwise, a motion to approve would be great.
So moved.
Jim moves,
I second.
Melissa seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, opposed? All right. Item 7, Forest View Estates Park dedication. Abby, welcome.
Thank you, Chair, members of the commission. It's good to see you all. The commission should be aware of parkland dedication. This isn't the first time you've kind of gone through it fairly recently, and you can expect to keep seeing us because we have quite a number of developments that are getting early stages of planning for construction, both 2020, approvals and construction, both 2026 and beyond. So tonight before you is consideration of parkland dedication with Forest View Estates. This is the preliminary plat portion. You may have remember seeing the concept plan, maybe last fall even. I can't necessarily remember the timeline of it. But the current proposal is Forest View Estates is proposed just to the northwest of Cooling Camp Park. So we do have on the screen there for you just to the west of First Lake, just to the northwest of Cooling Camp Park. It's a 15.85 acre site, and there's approximately 12.46 acres of developable land. It is proposed to have 20 single-family homes. The Park Commission's role in development review is to look at parkland dedication requirements. State statute allows the city to accept parkland as part of preliminary plat or as part of the platting process because of the impact that would be placed onto the park system. So your role tonight is to review the proposal and then provide recommendation to the city council. We always look at the context of the park system and the development proposal to see exactly what's being proposed where, to see what other kinds of facilities are there, and whether or not parkland dedication is needed. So the site is located within 1/2 mile of the service area of Cooling Camp Memorial Park. Residents currently rely on those existing parkland facilities and then if there's trail facilities in the area. City plans, so our comprehensive plan and our park and trail plan, do not call for additional new parks in this area. So this is everything that you'd seen already in the packet materials. Since the packet was released, we've had some correspondence with the landowner and the developer. So I'm going to introduce just a little bit more for you for discussion tonight. Some of this has to do with the history of parkland dedication in the area. So the purple box that you see there is a piece of property that was dedicated to the city and added into Cooling Camp Park by former owner of the land and then former developers of subsequent other parcels known as Bittersweet. So the Bittersweet subdivision occurred in 1987 and 1993, both approved by the town of Forest Lake prior to their incorporation into the city. So I'm going to give you some reference here is that Bittersweet 1 and 2 are these parcels right here, roughly. At the time of a development, the developer has, or the landowner has provided us with some documentation that says parkland of that piece that's shown in purple or purple bounded would be satisfied for all 3 phases of Bittersweet. We only have record of 2 phases of Bittersweet, and there is the assumption that the site that's being before you tonight is the 3rd phase. So in discussions with legal counsel has advised that parkland dedication is, can be accepted at the time of land subdivision. The property in question has never been subdivided, and therefore we do have a right to ask for parkland dedication. Now that being said, this is ultimately one of those circumstances where we do have to go back through our file records pretty thoroughly to verify whether or not the city or former township had any sort of legal agreements regarding that formally dedicated land. So fast forwarding to the development at least today and your consideration. As I mentioned, 12.4 developable acres. There's 0.24 acres that would be dedicated for a trail corridor up in the kind of northwest corner of the property. That trail will connect into the existing Cooling Camp Park and also serve as connection to the neighborhoods that will develop to the north. So we take that land area for the trail off of the developable acreage, and we now have a 12.22 net developable acres, which would require 1.22 acres of dedication. As I mentioned, this isn't an area the city had been seeking additional land for dedication. So included in your staff report was the staff's recommendation that we would recommend the council accept that public trail dedication, and then also accept cash in lieu of the land contribution that would satisfy the remaining dedication. Staff's recommendation tonight, even though we do have a little bit more history, remains unchanged. We do believe that you should make recommendation to the city council that we would accept cash in lieu of the land dedication. And if it is determined that there was land dedication that was previously satisfied, then that we would share that with the council at the council's consideration. Any questions?
Thanks, Abby. Commission members, questions?
I have
Karen?
a question. I haven't been out to Cooling Camp for forever, but when I was, it was pretty much all athletic baseball fields. Has there been anything added as far as like park amenities that would qualify for a park around that area? I mean, is it just athletic fields?
There is a playground at Cooling Camp Park and a picnic pavilion
Okay.
at Cooling Camp Park that also kind of serves a wider neighborhood than just the athletic facilities.
Okay, well, I have to go visit more often.
Yeah.
Probably was. And then the trail, 10 foot, pretty average,
Yes.
wide enough, bikes, people?
Yep.
Okay.
Other questions?
When is Cooling Camp slotted for any updates? Do we know that? Sorry, Dave.
We'll talk about later in the CIP presentation.
Okay, it's coming though,
It's
right?
coming up.
Okay, and then Abby, would you mind going back to the parcels for me? Just show me again the three that we're looking at. So the one with purple around it, that's the cash in lieu, and will that be?
This is land that the city
It's
owns
acquired.
that has already been acquired as part of the previous land subdivisions that had occurred before this, so
can't see
Bittersweet
it.
1 and 2.
Abby, your cursor's not showing up on the
Thank
screen.
you. We'll just get here a little laser pointer, that purple parcel we own.
Okay.
And then this would be Bittersweet 1 and Bittersweet 2. And then the premise being potentially this was intended to be Bittersweet 3, that this land dedication satisfied the land development requirements for all three phases.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Kyle.
Abby, would the action be accept the cash in lieu and also the public trail dedication?
I mean, you certainly, yes, can make your motion to accept the trail dedication and fee in lieu of the remaining land.
Okay. I think that would be the clear, that we're approving both, or recommending both, the trail and the cash. Somebody want to make a motion if there's no more questions?
I make a motion that we accept the trail dedication and the money in lieu.
Cash in lieu?
Cash in lieu of property.
Okay, Karen makes a motion.
Second.
Tim seconds. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, that passes. Thanks, Abby.
Thank you.
Looks like you get to stay with us.
I'm going to. Oh, how did that happen?
We like that, so you
Give me just a second.
Leave that
I
on for
just
a while.
unplugged to change the document, and my display settings changed.
So the next item is Lakeside Memorial Park Boat Launch Discussion and Recommendation.
I wonder where it is.
Could you just try the podium one more time? Here we go. All right, so on tonight's agenda is a discussion item and recommendation to the City Council regarding the Lakeside Memorial Park boat launch. So giving you some background, I think this commission knows I like to give you the background of why we're here, how we got here. So in June of 2005, the city entered into an agreement with the DNR that the DNR would pay for a significant portion of the Lakeside Memorial Park, or the First Lake public boat launch. And that agreement with the DNR said, hey, city, we're going to do this, but you need to maintain it for 20 years. That period of 20 years has now since expired. In July of 22, the city council adopted a downtown plan. The downtown plan called for many different improvements throughout the downtown and a few relevant things in Lakeside Memorial Park. One of those things in Lakeside Memorial Park was consideration of relocation of the downtown boat launch. In addition to that, it would be also the consideration of consolidation of the docking facilities, so both your boat club and the transient boat docks, and then also the installation of public improvement on the north side where that launch had been, of a new entertainment kind of stage. So additionally, since that time, in 2024, the city also conducted a shoreline stabilization study and a boat launch relocation study. So as part of those plans, it was kind of twofold. One, we know that the shoreline in Lakeside Memorial Park is not the greatest, is not the most stable. Annually, our Public Works Department is going out and reconstructing the shoreline. The shoreline, in essence, is not constructed in a way that will continue to withstand the pressure, the seasonal pressure that the lake is facing in that area. And thus, we do end up with some erosion. We'd like to try to protect the shoreline in that area, and so that was why the stabilization study was done. So as part of that, the city contemplated, if the launch could be relocated, where could the launch go? The first option was leaving the launch where it is. The second option was utilizing existing right-of-way in 2nd Avenue Northeast. And then the third option was a little bit farther north in the 4th Avenue Northeast right-of-way and on adjacent property next to that undeveloped underdeveloped right-of-way. At the time that the study was brought before the city council determined that that northern location is their preferred location for a relocation of the launch. But I do want to note that portions of that launch facility, all of the ancillary parking for that, is located on private property and is not property that the city owns. So in other words, the council has indicated they would like to move the launch outside of Lakeside Memorial Park, but they've identified a location that we do not yet own. The shoreline stabilization study also looked at different conceptual plans and identified a preferred alternative to the plan that does include a significant amount of rock, stone put in, much larger boulders. They're actually dimensional boulders, is that what you would say? Stacked dimensional boulders that are designed to withstand the pressure that the lake is causing with that heaving. In that shoreline stabilization study, there was the analysis that the city could stabilize the shoreline and consolidate docks with or without that launch in its place. So tonight, the reason that this is before you is some of this happened long before this commission was seated, and it was the idea that we needed to get back in front of this commission to get your input so that our public works staff and park staff could move forward with planning for a public infrastructure project, predominantly the shoreline stabilization, though it does directly link with that boat launch relocation potential. So tonight for your discussion is just the concept of shoreline reconstruction. I don't imagine you'll spend a lot of time on this, but really the idea is this requires annual maintenance. We need a long-term stable plan, and we need to start capital planning for that. You'll hear a little bit about that later on, I think, with Public Works Director Adams. So then that leads us to the launch. There is no publicly available alternative, but there are upgrade and repair concerns that we have. However, Should we need to upgrade and decide to keep the launch in this location, we are going to need to do that either at our own cost or in a new agreement with the DNR. And if we enter into a new agreement with the DNR, we are entering into another long-term commitment to keep the launch in this location. So the discussion tonight and the staff's recommendation is for you to discuss that shoreline stabilization with or without the launch. And staff acknowledged in the staff report, hopefully you all read those before you come, that this is not an easy conversation to have, and that staff recognizes you might not be prepared tonight to make a recommendation. And so staff is here acknowledging that we're here to support the commission. And when I say we, I mean the team here is here to support the commission if there are ways in which this commission would like additional public outreach and public input, either by surveys, public open houses, and or public hearings scheduled before you. So big topic for conversation. But I think one that's necessary for us to kind of move forward with some of those lakefront improvements that are probably a little overdue. Questions?
Well, thanks, Abby. Questions or comments? Open it up.
I'd like to see that location map you have of the alternative sites again, just to kind of get oriented.
Yeah, so this is, the red is the current launch.
Right.
And the red is, oh, that's right, my pointer doesn't work unless I point out the laser. So the red is the current launch, which shows 3 different parking areas associated with the launch. So one directly connected to the launch, one just across the drive, and then a little bit further down the way. This secondary launch in 2nd Avenue Northeast did not have any connected boat parking. However, the plan had contemplated developing some boat parking behind some of the commercial businesses along Highway 61. The preferred alternative up in the 4th Avenue Northeast did account for adjacent parking, and that adjacent parking is the part that is wholly located on private land. Those parking spaces, if I remember, do add up to the number of parking spaces that we do currently have. Though the plan did identify an alternative add-on, however, I'd have to go back and double check. I don't believe the final plan wanted to include this. I don't think the council wanted to identify that as a designated future boat parking area.
So is that on private property or is that on city property?
The blue circle?
Yep.
Partially on city property, but also partially on private property. But that's where I do believe that this, the final plan omitted, and the council's approval of the document omitted this ancillary parking.
And then the site, as far as the boat launch itself, that presently is owned by somebody else and not the city?
The red one?
The blue one?
The blue one, yes, correct. That predominantly. We own the 4th Avenue right-of-way, but where the parking is and what I would say is also the kind of backup is on private property.
And what sort of discussion have you had with the owners of that property?
We have reached out to them, but have not received any.
Okay, that's the one that hasn't responded.
Yep,
Okay.
correct.
Karen?
If I'm correcting this right, you'd be turning off a North Shore to get onto the boat landing?
That is correct.
It looks like that property next to the funeral home.
Yeah.
That is correct.
Vacant
Kitty
spot.
corner there from Coffee Smith.
The coffee shop, and there's a problem there to begin with, so.
I remember that, yeah. And I just remember the conversation when the whole plan was being built, that the existing boat launch was the one that everybody preferred, city-wise. I mean, people-wise. I don't know what the city's plans. You said the preferred one with the off-blue or whatever. But I just, looking at them all again, thinking about it, I just think I still like the existing boat launch, but would encourage the shoreline restoration. And you said there's some upkeep of that. I'm not afraid of the 20 years because I think the last 20 years I haven't heard any problem with the property, that they were right there to help. And so I'm not.
The
bothered by
restoration
it.
could occur with the launch to remain in place. It does kind of move the consolidated docking system when we decide to move forward with that further to the, now I'm all messed up, south. And would also not allow for a dedicated non-motorized launch. So in the current scenario with the launch potentially being removed from this location, this area would be redesigned to have a non-motorized launch and like a kayak canoe storage. Additionally, it would not also accommodate in the next 20 years the potential for additional green space or performance
I know we had
space.
talked many times about using some of the other entrances for the non-motorized, the canoes and kayaks and whatever, that they don't necessarily need that big a space, they just need someplace. And there were other places around the lake that you could handle that, but there's very few people. I'm surprised to see these. There were very, very few at the time that were found to accommodate the boat launch. Some were on the other side of the lake.
I'm sorry, I didn't, can you repeat that?
When the whole discussion was out there, I didn't see any other boat launch area that we could use.
No, there really is not alternatives for relocating the launch. That's what the study initially, the scope of work for the study, I want to say there was 6 or 8 we said we would look at of close sites, and really it came down to there was really only the 2 other alternatives. Both of them having some, pros and cons.
I
So,
think one
Abbi-
of the, if I can add, I think the biggest thing our commission here needs to consider too is the additional parkland, right? Being the main premier park in the city, that's a large chunk of the park being dedicated for boating and parking. And I think that's one of the biggest things that we want the commission to kind of consider is, do we want to give up that parkland space for boat and trailer parking?
So Abbi, the council's decided already to move the boat launch, haven't they?
The council has already decided that the launch location in blue is their preferred location. The circumstance that we're in right now is we cannot move it to our preferred location. So regardless, necessarily take the launch out of it for a second, we need to move forward with stabilization at the shoreline.
So let me, just on that,
Yep.
it's the preferred option, so I take it there's no appetite to use eminent domain?
There might be, I don't know, we have not discussed that with this council.
Is there a time frame where you think that's going to be resolved? Because it seems like this is a critical item, is, if this vision's going to happen, is it going to happen or not? Because obviously, there's tools to have this happen if the seems like if the council's made the decision to move it there, is anything going to move forward or not?
Well, clear that up for me.
I know it's-
Is that they're going to move it there or not? I thought they were looking for advice and answers.
No, the council has already determined this is their preferred
Preferred
location.
site, but they
So
haven't
whether or not
decided
we-
that they're going to take that site.
There has not been conversations of condemnation of private land for relocation of the boat launch.
Okay. All right.
I would think
What
that's
is-
kind of a nightmare,
A
plus the
nightmare.
PR
Oh, you bet it was.
disaster.
If I may add something into it, I think the council did select that as the preferred method, but they also acknowledged at that meeting that there wasn't a current Parks and Recreation Commission, and that they wanted feedback from this commission when this commission had been formed. So I think part of that's why this is being brought to either confirm or get that same recommendation, or to have a different recommendation or comments from the Park and Recreation Commission.
Well, to Kyle's point is, Karen, from Arts in the Park, it's a nightmare to have that boat launch there with all the people for Arts in the Park. And if we could convert that boat launch area into parkland, it would really make that park great.
And the parking for the boats there, while there are several spaces in all those different places, it sure is nice to have that one streamline, and you don't have strollers going behind and all the things that we have down in Lakeside Park. I've always thought that was an odd place for our main boat launch. I mean, money-wise for the business is good, but
There's a lot of reasons why it's good to have it there. There's some reasons, like you said, back and forth, where, yes, it'd be nice to have that land available for other things, but we also have to remember these boaters and these people with boats that come, they're not just no one. And so I'm kind of, the condemnation part doesn't sit well with me at all for that, but there
Well, I
are
think
problems with where it is, but we're talking about maybe some fix-ups or changes with it, that it could still be there and changed somewhat, or you're just saying it can't be there at all?
No, I'm not saying it can't be there at all. I think the argument is both the shoreline and the launch are in need of repair.
Right.
And what are we going to do with those facilities until such time as the launch could be relocated, if it could be relocated?
So you can't separate the two? You could do the restoration now without having a firm commitment on the boat launch?
As shown, yeah, in the slide that I had already,
Right.
you can do that. I think it's just the idea of, do you want to move forward with leaving that launch there? If that's the case, then I do believe Public Works Department, park staff are going to be coming back and talking about those improvement costs.
So yeah, it's the shore, so there's two things going on, to Abby's point exactly. There's shoreline that needs to get restored, and also the boat launch is 20 years old, so that's why they have that cycle, is because it's dilapidated, right? The docks are shot, and probably if you've been down there, you see that all the concrete is shifted around, there's a big washout. I mean, we get constant complaints all summer long how horrible it is. So you either, that's why part of this question is if you go lock in with the DNR will redo this boat launch, but then you're signed a 20-year, that's gonna be there for sure for another 20 years. If you do it yourself, it's between around $200,000 to $500,000, depending on what you do there. But if you do that, then you don't want all of a sudden, a year later, move your boat launch over to somewhere else. So there's capital, if we need to do the boat launch, but we don't want to make those improvements there, if the discussion is that we don't want it there and that should be somewhere else.
I guess, my thought is, like the boat races. So how do you move all that from the boat races up to the north preferred spot?
I think that's something that would be a whole different concept conversation to worry about. I think the biggest thing, again, is just kind of thinking about our main park, having that space either be dedicated for the boat launch or not, and then not worrying about if we move the boat launch, how does it affect those boat races? There's other ways to have those discussions and other times to do it. I think the biggest thing is just we have that restoration that's got to take place. Do we want to do the whole shoreline with the boat launch or without the boat launch? And that's kind of where clearly it might have to come back for a separate staff report.
Where's the shoreline project planned for this summer, Dave?
The project and the boat launch all got dollar amounts put on it, so you'll see that later in the CIP, that it's a capital project that's just kind of hanging out there. It was 1.5 million, 1.45 million, something like that, to do that. I mean, obviously, we chase grants and funding for that. We wouldn't hopefully have to pay for that out of pocket, but it's been floating from, I can't remember when this has been done,
23, 24.
So it's been just, every year it just jumps another year in the CIP because so if we decided to do this project, then obviously it would be not the next summer, it'd probably be the following one to try to get funding for it.
Do we have time then to let the city flush out whether that option, moving the boat launch to that private property is even an option?
Yeah,
Because if there's if city reaches agreement with that landowner that moves that launch up there, then this issue goes away for us, right?
I think it might be driven by this commission to see really what your thoughts are. Is do we want that boat launch to stay,
Okay.
or do we want it to go? I think that kind of
All right.
could be a driver.
But
Okay.
I guess I'm looking at costs here. So if you're repairing your boat launch where it is, what does that cost compare to obtaining the new ground and then developing that into a launch? What's the difference in cost there?
I don't think
So I think there was some price with that as well. I don't know if you know them off the top of your head, but I believe In talking with the DNR does not want to get in the business of buying land,
Right.
but they'd heavily participate in building the launch, the parking lot and all that, you know, so.
At their expense and not Forest
Right.
Lake's expense?
Do they lean one way or the other, which would be the better location for the launch?
No.
Do they have an opinion?
No.
They have no
And
opinion.
they have no opinion if we close it, never put one back. They said, they provide 2 public accesses to this lake already. They don't have a comment on this third one. And
Well-
they participate if the city added a third and requested another launch, but they don't, if we decided today to shut it down, they wouldn't.
Okay.
And that's
So you had a-
Yeah, I just wanted to make a note. So the cost of creating the preferred location is that, but I would assume that there's going to have to be some traffic flow changes there. That's a tricky spot to be putting boats and trailers
Yeah.
coming in and out.
Yep.
So there would have to be some change with the street
At
layout and stuff.
the new location, I don't know if
Yeah.
you can go back to that again. It shows you come in and off of Fourth and there's a turnaround. I mean, so it'd all be within inside that.
Across the,
Coming into yeah,
Went off on North Shore Trail, you go around a circle, you back in, then all your parking ramp or slots are angled that way. Then to come back and get it, you'd circle back around and,
it's North Shore Trail getting out onto 61 with boats leaving the lake and then you.
yeah, the
turn.
funeral parking. Oh, jeez.
I mean, that would be where I would think something would have to give right there. 'cause
Yeah,
that's-
yeah.
I would think that's outside our scope really
Yeah.
to worry about, you know? That we wouldn't solve that problem. That would be somebody else engineering what would be the best traffic control there.
Making them aware that it would be a problem.
Yes.
Yep.
Well, right now, travel,
The leaving it where it is, we wouldn't have to pay the repairs. They would come and repair it. Is that correct, Rod? We'd have to sign the 20-year, but we wouldn't have the expense.
That is correct.
And to me.
I can't say a full expense.
Right,
I think
but
it's
a
a
lot
cost
of it.
share, but predominantly the DNR would pay a significant portion of the costs of the launch, no matter where it was located. But like Dave had said, the DNR doesn't require the city to maintain that first lake launch. So I think the ultimate question might come down to this commission, how insistent are we that we maintain a first lake launch?
And the shoreline restoration is on our dollar, and the boat launch being there is creating more of that erosion. Is that what I understood you to say?
The boat launch being there is not creating more erosion. The seasonality is creating
Okay,
the
okay.
erosion.
All right.
But as part of the restoration project, you want to try to, do as much as possible so that we're doing as much as we can at the same time.
Right.
Versus necessarily leaving a portion of it unfinished into the future.
One of your questions was, what do we think about having a survey or a town, public? And I just think I hear a lot of different ideas here, different things that, what does everybody think about going out to the public again? I don't think it was very popular last time, but that could have changed. Nobody likes the survey idea?
I'm just wondering if that's a hornet's nest you're poking.
Well,
you know?
I'm thinking you are.
Well, let me tell you, it wasn't fun to come here tonight.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
So I think I'm hearing that one of the first issues is, does the Park Commission still want to keep this boat launch where it's at as a recommendation, or go to the preferred option? If we bat that one around.
I think
The city won't
I'd
pay
make a
them.
motion to keep the boat launch where it is.
Can I
Okay.
ask you a
Recommend-
couple questions?
Yep.
Do we know approximately how many people that come from outside of the city to use this? Or how many people really use this boat launch?
we can get some numbers from the watershed district. I know we recently got those numbers for another development project that's going on. So we can share with you at least how many people are using the launch.
Yeah, I'm just
We can't
curious.
necessarily from where they are. We just haven't been utilizing software to kind of track that. But there is software out there now that you can, or in applications that you can just cell phone data, start to look to see where your visitors are coming from.
Well, it would just be interesting to see how many people really use this. How many people is it really going to affect? right? Because there's people, yes, that live on the lake, they utilize the space over here in Lakeside Park and all the things, arts in the park, whatever it may be.
I think the
There's a-
Lake Association has a number.
Yeah,
because
there's a
they've
number
talked about
of fishing
at the annual
tournaments,
meetings
too.
about how many people have been
Yeah.
using it, how many boats
Yeah.
have gone to the launches and things.
I think there's maybe 2 fishing tournaments throughout the summer too, from what I,
Yeah.
So Tim made a motion to recommend the boat launch stay where it's at. Does anybody want to second that?
I'll second it.
Karen seconds. More discussion? I would just say there's a lot of people that, in that downtown study, and the city council's looked at this, and I like the preferred option. And I think we've got time to flush that out.
yeah.
It's a nightmare down there where that boat launch is now. Boats, if you think the traffic's going to be hard up on 4th Street, just watch them try to get back there behind all that commercial stuff and,
It's been done how long?
but it's, exactly.
20 years.
Yeah, exactly. All of a sudden, it's going to be a huge problem.
And I get the dollars and everything, but if we're going to have this vision for downtown come true, then we've got to look at this as an opportunity. Granted, it takes a long time for visions to come true, but if we put more investment into this boat launch where it's at for 20 years, that vision is not going to happen, so.
Well,
so-
And I can go either way with the majority, of course, but I would never go along with condemning property.
I'd probably jump the gun on that, because certainly they haven't even talked to the landowner yet, but you can always negotiate and work things hopefully out, so. And that's not our lane, so I apologize for that, so.
That's fine.
So, any more discussion? Otherwise, Tim's motion is to keep the launch where it's at, recommend we keep the launch where it's at. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Aye. So it's 3-3,
Oh, boy, that
which
means-
pretty much defines this issue.
I don't know that.
Well,
but
that-
I don't know if it was 3-3. I think,
Oh, okay, all in favor, raise your hand.
okay.
I'm
Yeah.
good.
3-3.
Opposed?
Where are you?
Which at least means that motion fails for a lack of majority. And so what I'm hearing is that there isn't a lot of consensus. And it seems like that maybe this commission needs a little bit more information to be able to make some of those recommendations to the council. How does the commission feel about gaining some public input?
I always love it, but
Yeah.
I haven't got a good way of ever doing it. No QR codes are the answer.
So this was in the downtown plan, right?
It was, there was a lot of.
This is in the
discussion.
downtown plan,
Maybe
yes.
we need to zoom in on just this issue for, a lot of people maybe have forgotten the downtown plan, or
Yeah.
maybe we need to zoom
I'd
in
love
on
to
this.
hear what the voters that use it, because, the people that, if you live anywhere near there, you know how many boats go in and out of there. I'm a sunrise runner, and there are boats in and out of there every morning. And then my friends live, funny, right where option 1 was, which I'm glad that's not the option, because I'd hate to go home and tell them that's what we were thinking. But they see, the boats in and out of there all the time. I mean, I just think it's really nice with all the parking all together. That's a beautiful location, so I hope we can figure that out.
I guess I don't know who the audience for the survey would be, Abby, and what we exactly would ask.
Yeah, I mean, I think, at least at the moment, neither do we, but I think this gives us some direction to go back and to put together a little bit of a plan to come back and see if you guys are comfortable with an approach for engagement. I think it would, probably be a general public survey. We might want to survey those business owners down there. That might be somebody else to just inquire with.
Well, how about getting a hold of Lake Association?
Yeah, I think asking the Lake Association, they do have, a strong membership.
Well, and their meeting is coming up
Yeah.
April something,
April
so
sometime.
maybe it could be,
Might be quick,
a
but we could.
discussion item.
Yeah. So I think at the moment,
Shoreline.
I think that I could see enough heads nodding, you want to fix the shoreline.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
But
that's
you don't know yet what you want to do
Yeah.
with the launch. Maybe a little bit more public input. before we'd move forward with the shoreline project that included the launch or didn't include the launch.
What we have to remember, it's an asset to have that boat launch there. I mean, it's an asset to our city, so we can't treat it like it's nothing.
So I guess that's the other thing I think about too, is that, you know, people, particularly with, you know, my boat club and everything being right there, they can walk fairly easily to drinks and food and whatever else.
Yes.
And
Now, and granted, it's only 4 blocks, but again, that's kind of away from the area of drinking and eating and shopping.
There's all those,
Your boat club would still
expand the
stay in
docks.
this
you
spot.
can still dock up your boat.
Those locations will stay the same, no matter where the launch is.
The dock.
Those locations,
But I'm just saying that the distance for the people to come, you know, where if you're going right down to the main spot, it's a simple walk. No.
yeah, your boat club would remain, we'd consolidate them. And granted, it's a future potential public improvement. There's a lot of planning steps that we'd need to go through to be able to do that. This would actually consolidate the docks closer to where there would end up being a performance stage in the future on that north side. So it actually could potentially, at least in the, you know, those summertime Tuesday nights, be more beneficial for those users. But
yeah.
But it puts them also away from the music, you know, where they want to come
But the
in.
music is, that's the downtown plan calls for this to be green space with a
band shell.
performance stage,
Yeah.
band shell stage to be facing to the south. I apologize, I didn't include that. I can show you really quick if you give me a hot second.
That's up the line.
But the music is facing south,
Yes.
and the
Gazebo right
launch will be to the
there.
north
Stage.
Right.
of what it is presently.
Improvement to the.
So how do those people that come?
You're just thinking the people using the boat launch, the people using the boat launch could still dock up right off the park. It would just be the boat launch would be separated from the park, and that's what you're thinking, is the boat launch people are separated from the food and the drinks. They would still have access to the water, but you're just saying to park their vehicle. But, you know, the other side of that would be you don't want people to park a boat and trailer and just, you know, you kind of want the traffic down there to kind of stay flow. But I think Abby's working on pulling up a different map to show maybe downtown.
Kind of just a visual to actually show you what the north side of the lake anticipated being, and I probably should have, I know I hyperlinked to these documents, and they're big documents. Next time I'll remember to kind of pull together a little bit more.
Can you remind me, if we move the boat launch, will the docks stay where they are?
The docks at the moment would stay where they are, but we would probably start a process to see if we can consolidate them, both the transient docks with the Your Boat Club, so there was more of a marina feel, trying to consolidate those motorized uses together to keep some of more of that shoreline space a little less, you know, all the lakefront being dock space. So this is that north side here where currently the launch is,
We like it, though. It's a great picture.
Nice tent.
There.
I really wish it was mine, but you know, that's,
While you're finding that, one question I have is, was that ever talked about in the downtown plan to have a performing stage? I don't remember that at
Yes.
all.
Yeah.
yes, it is included in the downtown plan. So, I'll pull up the downtown plan really quick, which shows that cross-hatched area that we could just call our existing launch, that would go away, and that there would be a new band shell in this area on the north side that would perform to the south. I'll show you just a couple pages here. So again, here's some just different potential designs where you could include separate docks. We have looked at the potential consolidation, but there's that band shell with additional green space. You could also leave it open with green space behind it. But then that idea that you would have that kind of, that parking, that drive, green space, band shell performance area, and then the docking system.
Again, I like the gazebo, and I think that's too close to have two performing places.
I think that type of stage would be awesome for all the different organizations in our area. They would love performing there, the dancing, the bands, all of that. I mean, they've got the gazebo that is not really set up for a dance group
Yeah.
or, I go down to Hugo and they've built that beautiful
Beautiful.
area. And boy, when they do their weekend Hugo days, it is amazing. They, put on talent shows and all of that. And, the gazebo is nice, but your ground level and there's just so much to say. That's all I'll say, but.
We'll talk about that
Yeah.
another time.
Okay.
I'm
All
sure
right,
you do.
so Abby, appreciate, as you, obviously, this is a.
Ongoing conversation.
Yeah. Certainly, one piece that seems like it's important to some of the commission, all the commission members, is if we get cost estimates.
Yeah.
It seems like that's also important.
Sure, so I'm hearing cost estimates of the different types of potential work, launch an existing location, launch rehab with a potential cost share with the DNR, and then relocation estimate costs. And then also I'm hearing that some public input identifying maybe some of the numbers of people that are using that launch, if we can gauge where they're coming from, as well as just maybe general public input, including Lake Association input, before this comes back to you.
If possible, too, the city engineer could give comments on the traffic flow
Sure,
at both sites, existing and, okay.
sure.
And whether or not the property owner is going to willingly give up that land, because there'd be no other way that
Yeah.
just for one person would condemn
Yeah, it
it.
has been a while since we've reached out, and so it's something
Makes a
that I would
difference.
do again, but there hasn't been a reach back, so.
The other neighbors too, I bet they'd be thrilled to have a boat launch right in there.
Nikki?
I mean, me personally, I do like the opposite, a new location for it. And the only reason I'm saying that is I'm going back again, just the 9 years that I've lived here, watching Arts in the Park grow,
It's growing, yeah.
watching all of these families grow and more people
Yeah.
coming up here, right? And so, to me, I think my big important piece was to make sure, even if we consolidate all the docks from the two different places, maintaining them there at the park so that people can still utilize them to boat, get off, go grab a bite to eat, grab some cocktails, do what you're gonna do, then be able to get on. And again, if you do have to take 4 extra blocks, I don't know, I'm just a big fan of the big parking lot too. I grew up down in the cities and it's really nice just to have it all conveniently located right there. People can see it's a turnaround, it's a go, where right here, we don't have a turnaround now. It's kind of a system. So, I don't know, that's just my thoughts on it. I like new advancements, but again, because we don't know where time's gonna bring us for the next 5 years.
Yeah.
If we keep expanding, that band shell and all that would be very beautiful. We could just add on more, again, to Arts in the Park, see what future does. We don't know.
And other additional programming, you can look at some of the other communities in the Northeast Metro and just how much their programming has grown and their community partners' programming interest has grown when they've made public investments into their infrastructure.
All right, so I think we're ready to go on to,
Thanks.
thanks, Abby.
Thank you.
Okay.
10-year park capital improvement plan, Dave.
Who wants to talk spending money? Where's my,
Intro?
just trying to zoom back in here. No, it's fine. So we're getting, crazily enough, staff has already been asked to start putting together all of our budgets ready for 2027. Working through operation budgets and capital, so our deadline to get our capital in is May, so I figured I'd bring this forward to the commission to kind of see what staff has been working on or what the staff has kind of planned for the park fund. An interesting development already happened now too. We're splitting out the park fund and the park dedication fund to separate those dollars. We've been going through the past and noticing that park dedication dollars may or may not have been funding other public projects that technically shouldn't be funded through park dedication. So finance is going to separate the two so we can clearly see the dollar amounts that are in each fund. It's not saying that those two funds cannot help to pay for one project together. It's just going to be a lot cleaner for staff and the commission and for council to know what dollars are in each account and what they should be spent on. As a little background, the park fund gets $425,000 a year from the general levy to do projects. About 3 years ago, there was $0 going into the park dedication fund. So staff has been, and council have been working well to build that up. The goal is right now to get it to $500,000, or the initial goal was to get it to that. They've been slowly adding, incrementally increasing that over the last few years to get it up to that point. I said in the memo, the 10-year fund, or this was kind of written before we separated it. So the park fund that we'll be talking about in the capital that you'll see in the spreadsheet is the park fund that gets spent with levy dollars. If you look at that fund, we have through 2036, basically spending out what we are planning on spending at certain parks. It's basically trying to rehab a park a year over the next 10 years, including the dog park that's in there next year, some work at Castlewood. You'll see that Hidden Creek Park and Southview Park are highlighted as park dedication. There's funds that will come in from Hidden Creek Park and Southview that will fund those improvements there. So there's not a dollar amount right now proposed to come out of this fund to build those two parks. Below that is a whole other list of things that either have been on the radar, have been requests, have been asked for, desires of staff, other council members and all that. As you can see, there's $16.5 million worth of things. So as you can see, the shoreline's in there and the boat launch and all that. So there's a lot of wishes and a lot of desires, and right now we don't have any of those dollars, to spend on any of these at this point in time. We have to figure out how to try to factor them in or get creative with funding, or get direction that we want to push, playgrounds that are kind of falling apart out a few years to try to fund some of these things in here as well. So when we get to discussions as park dedication and land, that's stuff that needs to be in your back of your mind, that there's ancillary things that the community would like that we have to pay for, and sometimes taking the cash in the development to help fund one of these projects is helpful as well. But I'm looking for comments of what comments on this plan, or just more getting in your eyes to kind of see what Public Works and Parks and Rec have kind of laid out for the next 10 years of a park. This is basically the park maintenance plan, taking existing and improving.
So a question
Karen?
for you, just
Oh,
because
Nikki?
I don't know. Earlier, like when we were talking with Jaren or about Johnson, the new development and doing cash in lieu for that plot of land there. When does that all take place in terms of them building? Does it come when they buy the development? I mean, when does that exchange happen from the builder and the city?
When do you get the cash in lieu?
Yeah.
Typically when the development agreement is signed, that's when all the fees come in. So and you don't know that dollar amount until that's negotiated out with the developer in the city.
Karen?
I really appreciate separating it out, because that gives us a much better vision of what we can do and what we should do.
Yep.
And so I appreciate that. Kyle sitting next to is great on running grants. Is there any way of grant writing coming into this picture at all?
Yeah, I think we can do a lot of that, right? And this is a 10-year plan based on, if you watch the bottom line, is trying to get it so you have a low year and then a high year, and trying to balance out that if you had $500,000 a year, you could get all this done. And a lot of it's deferred maintenance on playgrounds. I mean, Bayview was 20-some years old. What's in 27 is Fenway Park, that if you've been out to Fenway Park, that's just completely falling apart. All the rubberized is coming off the playground. So we did a lot of years when there wasn't anything. There's about 10 years where no parks were touched between 2014 and 2024. So there was just a big gap where nothing really happened. And 10 years is a long time when other stuff is getting older. So the good news is if you get through these 10 years, then all the parks have been gone through and updated. So there's going to be a section of time that you won't be needing to do playgrounds and all that. Where it falls off in 36, that has now updated all of our existing playgrounds.
And we keep that in a maintenance cycle, a good one.
Yep, so myself, we have to submit a 10-year plan to the city. I have a 50-year plan on my Excel spreadsheet at shop. So as soon as we do a project, I put it out 25 years and 50 years. So, and all these projects that have a life cycle, you put it in there so the next me already knows when these things are happening.
So you gotta
Thank you.
break and then you start all over again, having one every year.
But before, Karen knows this is just as well, that there was never a CIP for the parks. The commission would ask for money, and then the city council would say, well, where's your capital improvement plan? And then they'd say, well, we don't have a capital improvement plan because we don't have any money. So it was an endless cycle. So finally, I just put a capital plan together and said, what we need to do is gonna cost $1.5 million a year. That got their attention, and we dialed it back to, if we can get up to $500,000 a year, we can get caught up on our deferred maintenance. The problem is that you're not gonna get a lot of your other fund projects done. They're not incorporated here, so granting or there's always bonding too, right? Bonding with grants that, Kyle and myself can write, that you can get some of these things on those bottom lines accomplished. At a later date, we'll probably talk about, priorities of this list. What does the commission like to see done? Would really like to see a splash pad done, or would really like to see, lights at Fenway Fields, or would really like to see a disc golf course? And if staff knows the priority list, that kind of help us figure out how we can fund these things, whether through grants and all these projects. So
Okay. The 203 fund's really just your life cycle maintenance fund, Dave. Yeah,
Correct.
the big new parks that everybody loves. That's the list down below.
correct. And so the 203 fund now will be your maintenance fund, and then I believe, I can't remember what it's called. It's like the 220 fund will be now the park dedication fund, where you'll be putting that list below into that kind of these new projects, and where you have to try to fund in there. That's the whole reason of splitting them out, so you don't get them confused of
That is great.
this fund you look at as maintenance. Exactly what Don said is you don't want to mix these two together.
Dave, we don't need to talk about tonight, but at some point, will we get an update on that Castlewood and that?
Yep,
For the other members to recall, that 900K is for the irrigation system.
Yep, I was going to give an update at staff update, so that's fine now. So we solicited a irrigation consultant. They're going to do a full audit. So they're coming in, as soon as the snow gets out. May was, I think, $3,000 to have him do a full audit of the system, the pumping station, everything, and then come back with a recommendation. So
Great.
it's in the queue with them, and he said as soon as they're out of Iowa, so they'll come up as soon as the ground thaws and the irrigation's fired up.
Good idea.
Appreciate your optimism. The snow will be gone in May.
Yeah. It may be gone, and then it may come back.
All right. Any other comments or questions for Dave? There's no actions on this. He's just looking for comments, and I'm sure that Dave and Kyle would take them after the meeting too, if you digest it some more.
Yep, any comments? We have until May 15th to get this, the final cutoff for submission into the council's budget ask, so anything before that time would be appreciated.
And I don't know if there's an appetite with fellow members on this, but there's a lot of parks in here that I've never even seen or been to. And if we did a future meeting and when the weather's good and do a tour.
I was thinking the same thing.
I was too.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's so many new ones. I got a van.
I mean, it doesn't, it could, are you driving?
I don't know if you want me to drive, but I have a van.
We can talk about that more with the logistics with Kyle, if it's regular meeting time, or we just pick a special time. So, it sounds like there's some heads nodding on that one.
Yeah, it's a great
Okay.
idea. It's a great idea.
It doesn't have to be the, you know, at least maybe the ones in the first 5 years of the plan, something like that. So, okay. All right, thank you. All right. Staff report, dog park.
You got a hot ticket item. I think we have a few.
Good, we have
Few visitors.
friends.
Yeah, just brought some land that we had talked about previously on what the commission would like to see, access to maybe things like water, the parking areas, the shade, kind of all those items that we talked about. We identified 4 spots that we felt were worthy coming here to talk about and just put in front of the commission. I don't think we have to get sold on one, but we can discuss which one we like best, what has the best options, you know, most potential, and maybe dive in if you guys have questions on some reasons why we chose the 4 we did. So certainly just have some discussion open and share which ones you guys kind of like in order.
Can I thank him for putting it on in such a clear choices for us? I really appreciate the work that was done there. You identified some good spots. And, yeah. Want us to say which one we want?
I like the idea of
I'm
Bixby
gonna
Park.
look at them on the screen so I can understand where they are actually, or when I looked at them, I can.
I like A as well.
A, that's A? Yep.
This is-
I do too, but then
There's
if you
already
look at the
parking.
next one,
Oh, that is back by Tower Park. Okay, now I know where that is.
Tower Park.
Fenway Park?
Or whatever that,
Yeah.
there's a tower there, so I call it. That by the Dragon?
So option, attachment A is land behind, north of the fast food places, Culver's, White Castle.
Yeah, over by the
The
big
Dragon Park?
Dragon Park.
Yeah, by the Dragon Park.
Okay.
Attachment B is southeast of the Fenway parking lot. You can kind of see the ball field a little bit in the upper corner there. The county library is just to the south there. You can see the touch of that building.
And this is okay with the airport?
Yes. And then option C, because it's out of the zone, Karen. Attachment C is the public works site that we've previously looked at. And then attachment D is
Southview.
Southview, yeah. If there's one right away, I would say I don't like is D, just without proximity to the residential homes.
They can't see.
I'm sorry.
We're working on it.
Hey, glad to have you here. Glad to have you here.
We'll go back through these again then. A is,
They're showing.
and you can't see my cursor, of course, but
It's up on the screen. Oh.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, yeah, I see.
So if you scroll down a little bit, you can see where the fast food
yeah,
places
so
are.
there's like the fast food places and the Dragon Park is to the east.
So I drove over there tonight, and the water tower is straight ahead. So the trees that you're thinking about, we have to clear out some trees, because right now it's just like a little band of forest over there. I couldn't tell what part of that you were going to think of, where that drawing was.
Well, then for the visitors, so we'll go through these quickly again. Then attachment B is the one that's by Fenway. A lot of people walk their dogs now in this area along the
Can you point
trail
where
along
the
there.
library is here for me?
It would be somewhere down to the south.
Library is, can you zoom it out a little bit? Yeah, library is right there.
Right there, okay.
Yep.
Right across the road. Oh,
Yep.
okay.
And then
I missed
attachment
that.
C is the Public Works, future Public Works site.
Where is that?
That's
The
it.
Public Works site will be to the north of that 2.5 acres.
By the Washington County.
Yeah, it's, but,
That's to the east of the airport.
yeah.
Kind of behind where the, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then,
So it's not within the airport runway protected
No,
zone? or
Across the
whatever?
highway.
Across,
yeah, one of the criteria that we, staff was make sure it's zoned okay to do this. There's no airport restrictions. And then at D is, once again, right off 61. Karen called it the Southview area, but it's,
I think it was
I just-
Southview Park, wasn't it, before? Yep. Yeah. And you said you couldn't see it, but I think,
no, they couldn't see the screen, that's what
oh,
they're
I
saying.
thought someone here said they couldn't see it. Because to me, it's usable land that we're never going to put into anything else, and it's very convenient for people to walk around that area. I like that area and the second one.
Is that Hallberg?
So that Southview D is gonna be right, so here's Fenway,
Oh, there we go.
and then it's right
Behind
here.
the storage units?
Yeah,
Yes,
storage unit.
behind the storage units.
Storage units right
Yeah.
Call it, yep.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
McCall- right behind in there. Oh, gotcha.
And then the Public Works site is right here. And that one 12-acre piece was part of this, which is by Fenway. And then that first option, I don't know what just happened there.
Just really giving you the grief.
So why don't we just go down the line and people give their comments on each four? 'Cause tonight, we don't need to make a decision, right, Dave? Just,
No, we're looking just for some comments. We like all of them, we don't like any of them, go back or we prefer some of these, maybe look into some of these more. I mean, anything, any feedback
Okay.
you can give us would be fantastic.
okay,
I think A and B are great. I like,
okay.
that's the side of it.
I used to like A, now I like B better, because I really liked where the people have already made kind of a dog park, but we couldn't do it because of the airport. So if you found a spot there that we can do it with the airport's permission, I think that is, to me, my very first favorite one now.
That's completely out of the airport. You have nothing to worry about there.
Yeah, that's good, because I love it.
But it's still walkable. It's got that
Oh,
walkability.
yeah,
Yep.
and they use it there anyway.
And A and B, I like A and B,
A and
but
B,
if
yeah.
I had to pick, though, preference would be B for, take advantage of the parking at Fenway already. People are already using that area. The other piece, city water will be very accessible right at the end of the Fitzgerald there for water. We saw was important. And then Kyle mentioned to me earlier that, before the meeting, that this is also prime for some walking trails, which the city is short of through the wooded area.
Yeah, something to consider is just a extra walking trail, which we're very short on. So you could definitely have a dog park, but then you have a multiple use. You could maybe do some trails throughout the wooded areas. Obviously, do some clearing, but.
Yep. Tim or Sue, Karen, Nikki?
I like all of them, to be honest. I think B, I really like B too. I would just really be interested in what prime times, I guess, are for dog parks for people, right? Because I'm up at Fenway every day and there's already not parking in the spring or summer.
There'd be, right off the edge of, or the end of Fitzgerald, there'd be, the idea is you could put a parking, start with like a gravel lot there. And yeah, I mean, I think we would try to encourage people to not park at Fenway, certainly, but people are gonna do it. But if you have your own dedicated, even if it's just a gravel lot to start, you have several parking spots down there.
I love that idea. Yeah, just something dedicated at least.
No one mentioned third option, which we kind of talked about already. So then I would like to go down to, again, the Southview area, because, again, there's land there that I can't imagine what's ever going to be used for. And so that would be my reason for liking that one. It would be a great spot to have a dog park, I think. But I still like the second one better.
Okay.
And just to point out, we're not proposing a 12.5 acre dog park either. That would be, I mean, we're just showing that how much land is available. I think if that was the preferred option, then Kyle and staff would look into, okay, what should we do with this 12.5 acres? Don mentioned walking trails or something else that we try to put a better concept together of what we do with that acreage. So I just want to make sure we all know that we're not going to use that whole
I
thing as
thought
a
you were
dog
being
park.
very generous.
Good
Wow.
point.
Yeah.
Dogs really like you.
Even the mix, though, having a place where you have the trails around it, you've seen dog parks like that, you know, you can be on leash on the trails and then go in there and they get to run free, and so that's nice.
Think you got some good feedback.
If you can come walk up to the podium,
If you want to have it.
yep,
If you, yeah,
and then just give us your name and address. Talking to the mic.
19850 Forest Road, Trailside Senior Living. We're looking for an area where the dogs can just run on, not a real treat area. I'd never find my dog again. And benches. We're older. and receptacles and bag poles. You know, those are all great things to have there, and also a place for people to donate. You know, for the cause, because we all love it, and it would help people to take better care too. That's what I would do anyway. As far as, because I care a lot about my dog having a place to run. I have him on a long line, and it just doesn't work because I can't run. So I love the idea, and I was wondering if you're talking about more than one, or just one location, or two locations, or
Starting with
the more the merrier.
Yeah, starting with one location.
One
I think
location,
in a previous
okay.
meeting, we talked about, you know, future development, you might have 2 parks that are dedicated, but right now we're starting with the one. Previously, what was talked about was having a couple acres of fenced-in area, and then dividing that by large dog, small dog, but having it fenced in, and then, yeah, that's, I think the goal is kind of what we're trying to establish here, is picking out that site.
Sounds great.
Yep.
I'm wondering where exactly is this one?
This is, so it is, get my bearings here. So that airport is right here, and that, it's just north of the new recycling center, so where am I at here, 202?
Okay, and it's on the
Oh, right
west
here.
side of 61.
Yep, or the east side of 61, just north of that new recycling center. So if the YMCA and,
gotcha.
yep, library's here, the recycling center's here, it'd be right in here.
On the other side of the swamp. What? Oh. So there's no chance of is there land available by the airport? I mean,
That's
number
the second choice is this chunk right here.
Yeah, but I like that one.
That helps
A lot
the
of people
commission.
already use it, that's why, it's nice.
It's walkable. That's what I like about it. It's walkable for everybody's living in those lofts and such. They could walk over there and utilize it. So that's a great choice.
Yeah, it's very nice to be able to just stop too and have if there's benches out there too to sit. But then my dog wants to keep moving, so the dog park would be great to let him run. You could just plop on the grass and watch him,
Bench.
So,
We'll have you
pardon?
have a bench.
That'd be wonderful.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay.
that's
Okay,
my
thank you.
input.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you for listening.
Okay.
Does your
Thanks.
friend have anything to say, or is she pretty much the same?
I'm sorry?
Did you have anything to add?
No, only that I have to right now, I have a big dog,
Okay,
and I go to White Bear Lake.
okay.
To Otter Lake for the off-leash park, and it's great. Lots of paths with dogs, have a wonderful time.
Except we live at Trailside.
Okay.
So you have to drive.
Thanks for coming.
All right. Yeah, thanks for coming out tonight. Okay. So Dave and Kyle, I think you got some good feedback from members tonight? Yep. Okay. All right.
For that.
Staff report on the farmer's market.
So just to finalize, moving forward with the farmer's market, the purpose and regulation, brought that here last month just to kind of preview it, make sure there's no big changes. So settled up on, didn't make really any major changes, just kept the the dates that we had talked about before, that June 20th, just we did have some marketing out there for those dates, so nothing really changed. We're just going to move forward with having the city council adopt that with the recommendation that you guys had preferred that.
Sounds great. I think
Yep.
it's going to be fun.
Thank you.
I didn't pay him.
So just, yeah, like I said, just looking for the motion to recommend the
Okay.
approval for those.
Somebody like to make that motion that's in the packet?
So move.
Tim moves,
I'll second.
Sue seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. One agenda note for all of us is, if we have members or public that are here for an item late on the agenda, I have no issue of moving it up so they don't have to sit here through other items, but we just have to find out why they're here, right?
Yep.
So,
Good idea.
so,
No, we can ask from now on, yeah.
Yeah, we typically structure it, if there's other staff that are presenting, we try to have them go first so they can go home for the day and then
Right.
go in order. But if we know somebody else is here for a specific reason, there's no reason why we can't move it up.
okay, yeah, absolutely, if Abby or other staff are here, so. You two are stuck here all night, so, yeah.
We know we're
just-
stuck here.
And this time it wasn't even because of me. It was Abby's fault.
All right. Department purpose.
Yeah, I think we've had a couple different discussions on, what are we wanting to address with this department. Certainly, we won't spend hours talking about it, but just to kind of put the mindset in, do we want to be the department that, is doing more of public output of calendar of what's going on? Do we want to be more on events? Do we want to, what is the purpose of our parks and recreation? So just looking for some feedback, just do we want to, what things are we wanting to address that you guys as residents know that is maybe not here? Staff certainly has some feedback of what we're lacking per se within parks, but we also know there's other programs and organizations that do things too. So just trying to fit in and not necessarily duplicate things that are already happening, and what are some of those that you guys want to address? What are some things that you think need to be addressed?
You looking for something now, or would you like?
Yeah, just float some ideas around. Like I said, if we spend 5-10 minutes just kind of throwing just some ideas, and if we can get the commission to agree on a couple things, we can kind of do some diving in.
One of the things that I noticed over the holiday season, the toy collection and the food donations and things like that, I didn't really find a place where it was all kind of outlined. Here's where you can donate toys, all the locations in one spot. You'd see a sign in one doorway, you'd see a sign in another one, or something in the paper or whatever. But I kind of wondered, would part of our effort be to consolidate that information for people so they can go to one spot and see where all they can go during that time of year? And
Or for any event.
for
that-
for anything,
for
even
any
some of
event.
the other events that are even put on by the chamber, where we can just be that point of contact, and even though it's not maybe a parks event, it's somebody else's event in our park or
A place
in the
to
area.
submit what's going on.
Yeah.
That could be out there. And on that, kind of reading through this and thinking about it in our discussion about, a spring fling last month. And I like what you said, and I kind of went home with that information and thought, let people be spearhead these things and let them do what they do well, right? You know, so Spring Fling, you know, Chelsea's kind of got that started, or ECFE, or any of the places that they specialize in that. But I would love for us to be an avenue for them to be able to, you could submit the information here, and somewhere for the community to go, click on it, and be like, what are the community's activities? Not necessarily that you're putting on, or the city's putting on, but that are kind of going on, the happenings type of thing. There was a way, and I know then that's links and it's a website and all of that, but if there was a city calendar that people could just submit in, maybe it's an email place, and it could just get plugged into the calendar. So something like that, like toy drives going on, the different locations maybe that they are, or something like that.
I like the idea. Communication is always the most important to me, to have it in as many places as we can, and use everybody's information. Now, the chamber does a great job with that. If they're a chamber member, they put out the blast. And they have the community happenings in the paper. So dealing with this community for so long, I know the hardest thing to do is where do they look for the information? We can put it in a number of places and hope. But one of the things that I hear, two of the things, one's taken care of, disc golf. This commission, a long time ago, was going to use one of the parks for that. Now over by the district office, by Target and all that. You know, they didn't
Education
have
center.
that. So I think that takes care of that. The other thing that I promised my little neighbor boy, and we really are short of, is somewhere for the bikers to go. They've ruined a couple areas. We had an area for them, and then the drugs came in, and people weren't around to watch it, and that didn't work. But this little guy said he would not do drugs if we could just find him a place to go and ride his bike. So, and I do think that's one thing that we're lacking. You know, we've got a lot of things, but if we could just find some piece of land, it doesn't have to be expensive or big or.
A part of a park somewhere where they're, because yes, they did have a skate bike park, but it was,
Misused.
Yeah.
well, when you put it in a corner where nobody can see them, what do you expect? If you put it out in the open where there's lots of people, then there's less chance of it happening, so. That's
So
a
one,
placement issue.
so what I'm gathering from just kind of the conversation is really just kind of being a hub of information. So not necessarily going out and trying to reinvent the wheel with running events or putting on, it's just being a hub of, here's what's going on in our community.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I like that you've went out and met with so many different organizations and are kind of trying to keep your, finger on the pulse of all that. I think that that's what this community is all about. If we know about each other and we can all help each other's.
And we did branch out with the city center having the garden or the farmer's market. I think things like that, if they come up, that we can look out for, because I think that's going to be a powerful one for the community. So not branching out and looking for things that maybe haven't been announced, but if we hear something, maybe it'll work, maybe it won't work, but we could bring them forward.
The hometown holidays.
Yeah, I think obviously we'd have to talk to make sure that we can have a community site that, what the rules are, who's we can post and who we can't, or how that all goes, but
Right.
I think just by, if everything was in a perfect world and everybody used that to post with their events, you'd probably be able to start seeing where the openings are, where there's not stuff going on.
Yeah.
It's like, is there nothing going on every single Wednesday night all summer long? Or, which then other communities or not, other groups may say, okay, let's start doing an event on this night or whatever. The goal would be to fill up 7 days a week, there's something going on in the city.
That'd be great.
You go up to Hayward a bunch in the summertime and you click on their community calendar and there's 10 different things going on every single day, 7 days a week, But you find it on one calendar and that's where you find it. So, I think it's a great idea where, to everyone's point too, we don't have to start doing everything. If we all start promoting what everything is going on, you all of a sudden realize there's a lot of stuff that is going on.
Tons.
So we had to figure out how Hayward's doing that, and maybe have some connections.
Yeah, but I don't think it's their chamber site because it might be just on the city site too, but I think we'd have to make sure just with the administrator here in legal that there's something wrong that we're doing by letting people link in or how exactly that calendar would work, but I don't think there's an issue, but I don't think we can promise it without making sure that we can't be that hub for that calendar. But to your point with Cal being a connection with all these people, I don't think it would, all these groups and organizations, an email saying, hey, every time you have an event, just send me an email, we'll get it up on this calendar, you know, or link your calendar into ours, and we can, I'm sure, whether it's a Google Calendar or.
Google Form or something
Yeah,
like that where it
people
has
can
all the
just upload it right
details.
in, yep. So. But I'm also hearing that we don't want to start chasing events. I mean, the farmer's market's a great thing, maybe one-offs here and there, but we shouldn't, at this point, be seeing how many events the city themselves should be trying to support, other than Arts in a Park and this farmer's market and the ones that we're doing currently.
Do less better.
What else? Anything else that the identity should be for this Parks and Rec Commission / department for the city?
I assume the city has a mission statement, right?
We don't at this point. We're working through a strategic plan and all that with council, and then we kind of hit a bump in the road here a month or so ago, and that kind of got put on hold. But
Okay.
I know working through it, there's a lot of mentioning of parks and recreation and trails and amenities and community involvement and all that. We just haven't got to that point.
Yeah, this is a big, complex topic to, you say parks and recreation, if it's just parks, it's easy, we just have to maintain the parks. It's when you throw in the recreation pieces, what does that mean, right? I'm wondering if, you know, Kyle, you've got contacts in the rest of the Twin Cities, if there's other suburbs with park and rec departments, like you see in your memo, not to recreate the wheel, get some ideas from them. I don't know what the right balance is of how many recreational things do you get into versus focusing on maintaining the parks.
It really does
It's got to be a
change.
balance.
It changes city to city. Sometimes there's, and it seems to be what was established first. So you have some cities that everything's ran through Parks and Rec, whether it's the youth programming, adult programming, but we have an organization with Community Ed that does all of that. So obviously, we don't want to start our own youth leagues or, you know, but I know we're lacking like adult leagues, adult sports leagues and stuff like that. So it's who tackles that, but that's something that through doing something like a community calendar, definitely like Dave's point, sifts out like, oh, we have all these things going on, but we don't have that. Then that's maybe an opportunity for us to dive in and say, do we want to do that? Do we want to find somebody to do that? Or maybe somebody else just picks up on that. So it certainly, yes, kind of what the commission's thinking with kind of being that community hub would probably be the first step in figuring out what are we missing, or is that happening? We just don't know about it very well because it's not being put out there.
And one good
Yeah, I
thing
haven't
is
on
the-
list.
The pickleball, he can tell you how popular pickleball is, and that's certainly for the adult population. I think you hear it all along, and I don't know what it is that we can do for them, but the teen, you know, the 16 to 22 or whatever, we don't have any really events, parks that, maybe the disc golf will take care of that from the school, but I don't know. That you hear that all the time, but I don't have an answer for what it is we could do. They were going to have the line across belts, and they had a couple of ideas for belts that more teenagers would be able to use, but I'm sure everybody
And
knows that.
maybe Commissioner Tyson hit the nail on the head. Maybe this commission wants to create their own mission statement, and then, you know, work back from that, correct? I mean, I know the EDA has their mission statement and why they do what they do. I mean, maybe that's what this commission wants to do too, is, you know, have an identity and this is why we do what we do, and then sometimes that's easier, better to make decisions on what comes forward is, you know, this is why we do what we do, and this doesn't fall into this category, we don't want to entertain this, or this is right in our wheelhouse, and this is something we want to latch on to, promote, start doing, you know.
Which one, egg or the chicken? So do you need to know what you want to do to make your mission statement, or do you make your mission statement and decide what you're going to do?
I think part of your mission statement is what we're asking right now, right? I think if you
Yeah.
reframe this as, hey, we're gonna start trying to find our mission statement, we'd be having this conversation, the same conversation to start it off of, you know, but maybe to make it more of a formalized, be able to step back and start that process. And maybe it's just touching on it every workshop or commission meeting for the next, few months just to kind of work on it. You spend time on it every time and come up with that. It's a thought.
Well, we got a good start because one of the things I heard over and over, nobody in the city cared, nobody wanted to answer their phone, nobody ever wanted, whatever. And you get pretty tired of sending people to the city if somebody there isn't going to respond. And having Kyle and even yourself, but mostly Kyle, that he'll answer his phone, he's out in the public, he's at Arts in the Park. That's big because people get a chance to ask their questions and get them answered with it. So I appreciate that.
I do think it's a really good idea to have that shared calendar, and I'm just going to go out of the box a little bit too, where I don't know how many people in the city know that if you live in the city of Forest Lake, you can go up to the Y 6 times a year without having to pay a fee.
Yeah.
Nobody knows that, unless you go there and you get your membership and whatever. I'm a donator, monthly donator. I don't utilize it, but I donate.
Then I should go.
You should go on my
Yeah,
behalf.
there you
I'll
go.
add you. I'll add you and I'll take me off. You can go. But again, it's one of those things where, you wouldn't know that to go utilize the splash pad in the summer unless my kids' friends come over and say, hey, you guys can go for this time. I can tell you at least 5 times last summer that we went up to play pickleball and there's no schedule. There's no way of knowing what's going on, and there's groups of individuals that do their own thing, which is cool. I don't need to be in there when they're doing their thing because I can't play with them. But to be able to know, we can look online and see it's open pickleball, right? Or we have this league going on. I think it would be helpful for a lot of people. I mean, even myself when I'm going to date go back 9 years, but back then, when my kids were small, I didn't know where to sign them up for sports. Not until I was in daycare and asking questions to people that lived here, where do I do t-ball? And it was different to me that associations weren't connected with the community yet. It's all completely separate, and you got to navigate all those avenues. And so with community ed being separate from Parks and Rec, where I came from previously, it gives it a little bit of a different dynamic, so it's not in our control, which is fine, that's great. But then I also think we need to be able to put it all together for everybody.
Directory and stuff.
Yeah.
That's good, that's helpful, for sure, gives us a good starting point.
Okay.
Start diving into some ideas. Yeah, thank you for that.
All right. Last item, discussion of Arts in the Park.
Yeah, so just another discussion. We're coming into the season, obviously planning is well underway. We're got vendors coming in. We're going to have some music contracts coming for next month, and just kind of want to get an idea of maybe who the commission would like to extend invites out to join weekly, and then obviously discuss with the commission too on the weekly calendar. I just threw something together last year, just a weekly sign up. Just want to check in if that works for everybody to do that again. And then do we want it to just be one commission? Do we want to have council also included on that sign up to have a commission and council? Do we feel like that's too much, or kind of what does the commission want to see with sign up, how to do it, and then who to invite?
I love the idea of having both the council and the Parks Commission there. I think people want to talk to all of us, so. And I promise to.
You got heads nodding on that one, Kyle.
Yeah. Sign them up. I love being there. I'll be there every week because I think it's the best thing in town to do. And so it's not a hard one to volunteer for. And if you get enough of those little things about, to pass out.
All the goodies?
Yeah, you can buy all the goodies you want. I just want the piece of paper that I can pass out.
The
Because then you go around, you talk to other people, and you ask about the music, and it's really fun. But if you don't have a piece of paper in your hand to give them, it's like, why am I approaching you? So,
Deal.
it doesn't cost. I'll donate the money to make those little papers.
Don't put that in the minutes.
The minutes. She said it on record.
Karen will donate
It's
flyers.
just a really good way to get to know your community. And they want to talk too. And the music, they'll tell you, oh no, not tonight, or this is great, bring them back. And they have a lot of good things to say.
Good. So yeah, just the simple sign-up sheet weekly, email it out to you guys, and then obviously invite the council as well.
Yeah.
And just try to get that, you guys, that's a good plan? Okay.
And if we could know what the music was on the days we were signing up, that might help.
That schedule will probably come out before the sign-up, so you'll be safe.
Is there a sign up at the Belts Park for bikes?
Oh, just
Remember we were gonna do that?
a bike rack or to keep off the,
Park right now?
Well, I thought it was, I thought it was sign, and then I see up. So I was thinking, I'm talking about signs now, see? The up is on the next level. So, all right, I'll use it in my report.
All right. So on the Arts in the Park too, Kyle, and you can maybe talk to Abby. That could be an event if we're going to survey the public on things happening in the park there.
Yep.
You got, so,
Visual board,
QR code for that one.
yeah,
you already have-
to the survey.
Boy, oh boy.
and when you go around getting people the music list, you can ask them if they'd like to have a better band show.
Yeah, no, well, I could ask them. I thought you could ask me if you want to use the QR code. No.
All right, so I think we've got staff reports, if we have any, staff updates.
Yeah, a couple updates. We had the memorial pavers for the vet memorial site. I know the commission, kind of has been updated a little bit along the way, but we had our best-selling season for pavers. I think we were up to like 67 or 68, and typically the orders were 8 to 12. So that's obviously a huge positive response to that project taking place down there. So that was encouraging to see. So that was good. The sculpture for that, I think I got an image just today that's getting going. So the clay sculpture for all that, it's kind of moving along. So I know you probably have a couple things too. No, that was kind of the couple things that I had noted.
Okay. Dave, you're good?
Yep, I'm good.
All right, commissioner updates. We'll start. Nikki, any update?
No update.
Karen?
I have an update. I would like to know about the bike sign at Belts, because I made a handmade one last year, and I really would hope not to have to do that again, although it did look pretty darn nice, but we were gonna talk about that, and I don't wanna talk about it in September, because those bikes could really ruin that ground. And if there's no way of telling them to stay off of it,
I think
We ordered the bike rack and all that stuff in the fall, so we just didn't put any signage up. We don't put signs up in the wintertime, so we can discuss location and all that. Staff-wise, it's on the list, we just haven't,
okay, just if
the
it's
rack
on.
and everything came in like November, I believe, and so we haven't just got to then. So we were putting up a reader board too to be able to put community news in there, like, to that point about the Pickwell, so, the goal is to try to get a reader board at every single park we have. That'll have like the Arts in the Park promotions, and then other stuff that's going on, and then reservations and all that stuff. So we're slowly kind of, every time we redo a park, we'll make sure we get one in, but then try to backfill the other ones too as well. So Bayview will get a reader board in it when that gets put in this summer too, so.
I
With a bunch of
appreciate
QR codes, that's all it's gonna be.
I don't care where you put
Check
that.
out Arts in the Park, here's a
But if
QR
that,
code.
if that
What's
gets
going on in
run
the
from
city,
bikes,
here's a QR code.
you're gonna know
What's
that
going
this
on?
commissioner did not want that. I mean, that's gotta be a simple thing for Rapid Press to make, no bikes allowed on this.
We're just gonna put a sign up with a QR code, and then they have to take a picture of it to say no bikes allowed.
It'll just pop up. Fine, that's fine.
But seriously though, yes, we are gonna, I think just like at Lakeside, they have like the stencils too that have the no bike on it. And
Yeah.
we don't wanna drive too many signposts everywhere either, so just something, obviously, even if there's a sign, people are still gonna do what they do, but at least letting them know that, and maybe the signage to say something that don't wreck.
Well, and when I'm up there, I don't have to just tell them it, because I'm an old crabby lady. I can say, do you see the sign? I'm sorry, we can't have bikes here. But if otherwise, it's just a help.
Okay. Sue?
I have nothing.
Tim?
Nope.
Melissa?
And I just had that the Forest Lake Area Good Samaritans are doing their citywide cleanup on Saturday, April 25th for Earth Day. So, I'm sure Mike usually contacts the city about having the truck out there for us to put the garbage bags in, because hopefully we can collect over 100, because we have in the past. The time is precocious right now, 9 to noon, let's go with that. It's either 9 to 11 or 10 to noon, and there should be a lot of people out in the city cleaning up. And if you guys have any ideas of where some dirty spots are, where we could, be the cleanest city by having the most garbage, it's kind of backwards, but let us know.
Sounds good. Thanks, Melissa.
Yeah.
All right. Do we have a motion to adjourn? Tim moved and
I'll second.
Sue seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thanks, everyone.